nome é Ítalo Denelli Venturelli. Eu juro que o que eu vou dizer para vocês é verdade, nada mais do que a verdade. Sou médico há 46 anos e em 1996, no dia 20 de janeiro, eu fui chamado para ver um paciente, né? E quando eu fui ver, não era um ser do nosso planeta, né? Que fui chamado eventualmente para dar minha opinião sobre o caso, e eu vi o caso sob o ponto de vista médico. Consciente, sem dor, sem sangramento, respirando bem, muito calmo, muito tranquilo, parecia uma criança de uns 7 anos, branquinho, não tinha mau cheiro, a cabecinha grande, mas em forma de gota, né? Boca pequenininha, uma das mãos estava dentro de um campo e outra para fora. O olho não era vermelho, estava lilás, também em forma de gota, e me olhou de uma maneira muito tranquila, não estava agitado, não estava agressivo, não estava com dor, e na minha opinião não estava com medo também. Na minha opinião, estava entendendo o que estava acontecendo ali. É um olhar muito bonito de ver, um olhar assim sem julgamento, né? 2 vezes ele olhou para mim, olhou para a janela, olhou para mim outra vez. Eu senti assim, eu fiquei próximo dele, né? 1,5 metro, assim, não toquei nele, mas eu fiquei próximo. E a maneira de olhar é uma maneira assim que ele parece que era uma inteligência maior do que a nossa, do que a humana, né? Que ele estava entendendo, apesar de ele estar assim numa situação de defesa, ele não estava com medo, ele estava entendendo o que estava acontecendo, né? Possivelmente deveria ter algum propósito, alguma coisa para estar fazendo o que ele estava fazendo. E a verdade é que eu sou testemunha ocular, eu vi o ser sim. Podem falar o que for, brincam, zombam, falam uma porção de coisas, mas eu vi ali, deitado na minha frente. É importante as pessoas saberem que não estamos falando de dinheiro, estamos falando de uma coisa que muda o conceito da humanidade, né? Que é um ser de um outro local. Eu fui lá, não fui procurar, eu fui lá por um acaso, ver um outro paciente e eu vi. Então eu acho importante as pessoas saberem que sim, quem fala que viu, quem viu espaçonave, viu, nós vimos mesmo. E não é fácil ficar aqui na frente da câmera falando sobre isso. Que perguntam, parece que a gente está mentindo, você tem que insistir. Já jurei que vi mesmo e vi, né? Que os seres mais novos acreditem que existe sim.
8 witnesses were about to testify at the National Press Club about a 1996 UFO crash in Brazil. Their visas to the United States were denied. However, a neurosurgeon who claimed he stood face to face with a living alien being for 4 minutes is still coming. And an air traffic controller says he watched an unauthorized U.S. Air Force plane land on Brazilian soil to pick something up. On January 20th, the world is about to hear testimony that someone clearly doesn't want you to hear. This is a major story developing right now. Filmmaker James Fox, the director behind Moment of Contact and The Phenomenon, is bringing Brazilian witnesses to Washington to testify about what they say was a UFO crash and the capture of a non-human being. But efforts to stop this testimony are now impossible to ignore. So let's get straight into what's happening and why it matters. For those unfamiliar with the Varginha case, here's a quick version. In January of 1996, witnesses in Varginha, Brazil, reported a cigar-shaped craft in distress over the city. Days later, 3 young women encountered a creature in broad daylight. They described a being about 4 feet tall with oily brown skin, red eyes, and 3 protrusions on its head. Military police allegedly captured at least one of these beings. A 23-year-old officer named Marco Chirizi, who handled the creature with his bare hands, died weeks later from an infection doctors couldn't explain. The Brazilian military denies everything, but dozens of witnesses tell a very different story, and now they want to tell it publicly. The centerpiece of the January 20th event is Dr. Italo Venturelli, a Brazilian neurosurgeon. For nearly 30 years, he denied any involvement. Then he had a heart attack, then prostate cancer, and he decided he couldn't take this secret to the grave. James Fox describes the moment the doctor first admitted what he saw. Here's what James mentioned on Weaponized.
So we get on video call, do a little brief introduction. Marco is doing the translation, and I never once asked him, did you see the creature? I was all about the video. So I was like, did you see the video? And he confesses. on the video call, but there was just a call there wasn't recording. It was just me talking to him through video with the translator, with Marco Leal. So I was like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, my buddy shot it and I saw it, blah, blah, blah. It does exist. And I was just like, okay, I need to get my ass back to Brazil.
James Fox eventually got Dr. Venturelli on camera, and this time the doctor didn't just admit to seeing the video, he admitted to seeing the creature in person at the regional hospital in Varginha.
And he's got his full lab coat on and everything, and he sneaks us in through these corridors, a whole maze of corridors, and he takes us in and he goes, put this gear on. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm putting on this gear because he's taking us into the ICU where the alien was. And that's where the video was shot too. The sound guy's down there, the camera guy's down there. We're trying to put the gear on. And it was like, start talking video, and all of a sudden he's like, no, the creature was right here in this bed right here. And I was like, you saw the creature in this bed? And that's when I realized, like, this guy's going full open Komodo. Like, screw it.
The doctor took James inside the actual ICU where the being was being held, and he described looking into the creature's eyes. He said it communicated telepathically. He said it showed no judgment, and actually, the doctor compared it to an angel. This is a practicing neurosurgeon willing to put his career on the line, and he told Fox he would take a lie detector test and put his hand on the Bible to show that he's telling the truth. James Fox also obtained testimony from the forensic pathologists who examined the deceased military officer Marco Chirizi's body.
We got an interview. Thank you, Marco Leal, for helping make that happen, with the two forensic pathologists. One that did the autopsy on the deceased military officer. His name is Dr. Armando. He's a forensic pathologist. And then his partner, Dr. Giannini, who founded the company, IPD Labs. Dr. Giannini studied the tissue samples, and he's coming forward in the film saying, I've never seen anything like this bacteria perform the way the bacteria did with him. Never before, never since.
A healthy 23-year-old dies from an infection that two forensic pathologists say behave unlike anything they've ever seen. Dr. Giannini describes it as weaponized, and that's the word that he used. Now, here is where the story takes a turn that should concern everyone, regardless on if you believe about UFOs or even this case at all. 8 witnesses who were supposed to testify at the National Press Club just had their visas denied, and the timing is very suspicious. James Fox spent months coordinating this event. He worked directly with members of Congress. He contacted the consulate in Rio, Brazil. He provided every document they asked for, his credentials, his films, the event details. He even agreed to be personally responsible for every witness.
I was calling a specific member of Congress. They're calling the consulate in Rio, and they're going, look, and then they're asking me for all this additional information. I'm like, yes, here's my movie, here's my credentials, here's what I'm doing, here's the event I'm holding, I'm paying for everybody, it's all on me, I'll be responsible for getting them there, returning them there, and then like eight visas got denied.
Fox says some were even initially approved. Then, once authorities found out the event was specifically about the Varginha case, everything changed. The approvals were pulled. Fox doesn't know exactly why the visas were denied, but he has his suspicions.
And so all these people were coming. And then I don't know exactly ultimately what caused them to change their mind, but they even approved some, and then they found out it was about the whole Varginha case. And I don't know, this is speculation, but suddenly the kibosh went down.
Think about what that means. These are not asylum seekers. These are not people with criminal records. These are doctors, witnesses, and professionals who were invited to speak at the National Press Club about events that happened nearly 30 years ago, and someone decided that they should not be allowed to enter the country. Now, let us talk about why this case matters beyond Brazil. James interviewed a Brazilian air traffic controller who was monitoring flights.
This guy was a radar control officer where he would monitor in a particular area of Brazil the flights coming in. And I remember Marco something and his partner, and he came clean. He's like, yeah, this USAF flight came in. And I was like, USAF? What the hell is this guy talking about USAF? It's like, Oh, United States Air Force. He came in and goes, he didn't have authorization from the Brazilian government. You can't land. You have to have Brazilian authorization. He says this high-level brass guy walks in the door and goes, let him land. And the damn plane lands in Campinas. And that's where our military ex says he drove the damn thing to Campinas. It makes everything lines up.
An unauthorized U.S. Air Force flight landed in Brazil. No clearance from the Brazilian government. A high-level official simply ordered them to let the plane land. And this happened at the same military base where the witnesses say the recovered materials were transported. Fox says this controller is willing to reveal his credentials to members of Congress. I want to hear from you. Why would 8 visas suddenly be denied for witnesses coming to testify about a case from 1996? What is the threat? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Fox flew back to Brazil just weeks ago to record video statements from the witnesses who cannot attend in person, and he will present those at the National Press Club. But Fox is clear about what he needs.
And we're also bringing a senator in. Thank you, Michael Schellenberger, for helping make that happen. A sitting member of the Senate in Brazil, and we want to connect them with members here and start a joint investigation on both sides. So that's what we're doing. Because I think if true, okay, I'm going to say this again, if true, this could be the case that settles this debate once and for all. And I'm not asking anybody out there to believe it, but help me research it. Help me dig deeper. Help me get answers.
He wants the flight records. He wants to know who was that unauthorized plane. He wants a joint investigation between the U.S. and the Brazilian governments. And he's willing to offer everything he has to make it happen. The National Press Club event will take place January 20th, 2026 in Washington, D.C. It is open to the public, but with a capacity of only 400 people. It's also free to enter. Cameras are welcome, and James Fox is calling this the biggest grassroots efforts in his career. The briefing will also be streamed on News Nation. Whether you believe these claims or not, the fact that witnesses are being blocked from testifying should raise serious questions. Transparency matters, and right now, someone is working very hard to prevent it. What do you think is really going on?
Ô Zé T, é sério, mano. Eu vou ter que parar de participar do podcast se o Marcola não for embora logo pro planeta dele. Sabe por que ele é assim? Porque ele é híbrido, mano. Essa mistura com DNA humano não deu certo. O cara escuta funk, velho. Que fim de carreira.
Ainda bem que eu sou alfa puro. Não tenho mistura com humanos.
Tá metido, hein? Você já foi mais humilde.
Alô, aqui é Zé T.